I was shocked to learn that there is an ancient philosophy called legalism, which operates under the belief system that human beings are inherently selfish and inherently corrupted, and that we need strict laws and strict punishments in order to keep us in line. And I was so shocked to believe this because in my own country and in my own culture, it is so deeply ingrained in culture. People speak of it as if it is just the truth, as if it is just an understood universal truth. That when I learned that it was a man made human construct that was infiltrating and influencing my own government, this man made construct, which is very debatable and also proven ineffective, and I'll get to that in a second, has infiltrated my own culture and many other cultures so severely that essentially my government operates off of the idea and the belief system that human beings need law and order and a legal system of punishment in order to keep us in line. That trickles down to parenting. And many, many, many parents in my culture just operate off of the assumption that kids are bad. And in order to keep kids in line, there has to be laws, there has to be um, laws to follow and consequences, punishment in order to keep children in line. And then this in turn conditions individuals to modify their own behavior based off of a punishment and discipline focused belief system. It conditions individuals to modify their own behavior off of the assumption that they need punishment in order to keep them in line. Otherwise, they will give in to their bad, inherently selfish, and corrupted ways. Now, besides the fact that this philosophy in general is very debatable, I myself have always intuitively believed that bad behavior is a result of wounding, and that with healing, with true, authentic healing, with understanding the wounding that causes bad behavior, we can help to heal the bad behavior, like heal the wound that causes the bad behavior. To me, it's like very debatable. I believe that I'm correct, but obviously a lot of the world believes that legalism is correct. But whether or not legalism is true, that humans are inherently bad and selfish, okay? This part of the argument, this part of the philosophy, humans are inherently bad and selfish. Whether or not that's true, the second part, therefore they need strict laws and strict punishments in order to keep them in line, that part is definitely objectively false. There have been studies done. I remember learning in psychology classes that children who are punished, disciplined, they don't their behavior doesn't correct and they don't even understand to correct their behavior, but child or not, it has been shown time and time again that punishment does not modify behavior. It teaches people to become better liars. It teaches people to hide behavior based off of self defense, based off of normal psychological self protection and coping mechanisms. Punishment based behavior modification teaches people to hide their behavior, to lie to themselves. On my own self improvement and self growth journey and healing journey, I have found this to be the truth for myself. I have found this to be very accurate for myself, that I literally will lie to myself to avoid punishment and consequences, okay? Because of this deeply rooted conditioning within my culture and within the way that I was raised to punish myself for bad behavior, perceived bad behavior. And because of that, I lie to myself to avoid the consequences. And after years of doing this kind of healing work, I have found, to me, it feels like there is this distinction, okay? It feels as though there is a part of myself, a higher part of myself, call it the higher self, the higher mind, whatever you want to call it, that offers me guidance. And this conditioning, this inner critic, filters that through the punishment lens and delivers that guidance in a way that is discipline and punishment and shame based. And so I lie to myself and say, that's not true. This is incorrect. This is just my inner critic speaking, but it's not my inner critic speaking. It's my higher mind speaking. And my inner critic is filtering it through shame and punishment. And I have found that this has blocked me from a lot of opportunities for personal growth and development because, in order to avoid punishment and discipline, my inner child coping mechanisms simply just lie to myself. They hear that and they go, oh, that's not true. And for myself, I have found that it is so deeply ingrained within me that even though I have intellectually understood for a long time that shame is an obstacle and that I must dissolve shame in order to progress, because shame literally just creates all these coping mechanisms and this self betrayal. I have known that intellectually, but automatically there was this force inside of me that was automatically and subconsciously trying to modify my behavior via shame. If I have some sort of desire that is against my own personal growth, or some sort of thought or some sort of action that is against my own personal growth, my shame base, so my higher mind will be like, do this instead. This is a better way. If you do this, if you go this way, it's going to take you off course. If you go this way, it's going to take you off course. But it filters through my inner critic and my inner punisher, my inner parent, my inner whatever, authoritarian. And that part of me goes, stop doing that because you're bad. You're messed up in the head. You're bad. You stop doing that right now, you bad, bad little creature. And because of that, because punishment doesn't work, then my other parts of myself, my inner child or whatever you want to call it, decides it's just going to go ahead and repress that guidance. I'm no longer getting that guidance. I'm no longer hearing that guidance because of the fact that it hurts so bad, because I've been conditioned to punish myself. So I'm no longer hearing that guidance. I'm no longer being steered onto a path that is more in alignment with myself. I'm making excuses for myself. I'm lying to myself in order to avoid the harsh punishment that was instilled into me. And this is where gentle parenting yourself comes in. So I learned in a psychology class 12 years ago, but I found that it's still widely considered to be true, that there are four broad types of parenting styles. And this is going to be on a spectrum. So, it's not like these are four black and white, hard, fast rule categories, but they're four broad categories of parenting styles. Okay. So there's authoritative, and authoritative parents are high in warmth, meaning they're affectionate, they are encouraging, they are loving, they speak positively to their children. And they are high in expectation, meaning they have high expectations for their children to be the best version of themselves they can possibly be. Then there is authoritarian style parenting. And these parents are low in warmth, meaning they're very critical, they're discipline minded, they are punishment minded, and they are high in expectation, meaning they have very high expectations for the achievement of their children. Then there is permissive parenting, which is high in warmth, meaning very positive, loving, encouraging. They hype their kids up, but they are low in expectation, meaning they don't really have expectations for their kids to grow in any sort of way. They just kind of let them do their own thing. Okay. Then there is uninvolved parenting, and these parents are low in warmth, meaning they might be neglectful, they might be super critical, they might be very punishment oriented, and low in expectation, meaning they don't really care. Like, for example, I had a mentally ill parent. I would say he was uninvolved parenting style, where he didn't have there was no structure or rules, but he was still very critical. And like, he was either critical or neglectful. And you just never knew which one was going to happen. But there were no expectations. It just sometimes happened, criticism or neglect. So that would be an example of an uninvolved parenting style. Now, gentle parenting is, and I know a lot of people think gentle parenting would be more like permissive. It would be more like you're really nice to your kids, but you let them do whatever you want. But gentle parenting is thought to be more associated with authoritative style parenting. And my best friend is actually, she reads a lot of books on gentle parenting and does a lot of research on gentle parenting, and she strives to be a gentle parent. And this is what it is: it is authoritative style parenting, it is high in expectation and high in warmth. So they still have very high expectations for their children. And the vibe is, it's not like, oh, you need to be better, you need to do this, you need to do that. It is, I believe in you. You are so capable. I believe that you can do this thing. It is high in warmth, it is high in encouragement, it is high in praise. And it's basically like, I believe you can be the best version of yourself. I want you to be the best version of yourself. The way my friend does it is, she doesn't have any specific expectations for what her son is going to be good at. She wants him to find what lights him up inside and be good at that. And she has high expectations for him to figure that out, for him to figure out how to be good at and how to continue to work on the things that light him up inside. And this is an example of gentle parenting. Instead of punishment, there would be encouragement and praise. So if he shows an interest in a certain hobby, she's going to go, you're so good at this. Look at that, buddy. You're so good at this. Keep on going. That kind of thing. How you would talk to a child. Applying this to my own self, to gentle parenting myself, I have found that I actually do have really high expectations for myself. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that I have high expectations for myself. I am hungry for growth. I am hungry for exploration. I am hungry for creation, truly and honestly. My soul craves to continue to grow and expand and create. And my soul has been sorely lacking that. I found that I have actually been so depressed for so many years because of the fact that my higher self's high expectations were coming through in a way that it was filtered through the conditioning of punishment, of shame, of criticism, of discipline. My vessel, me, was not listening to my higher self's calling, to my higher self's guidance for more. For the fact that my higher self has been hungry for more creation, more growth, more expansion. I couldn't hear it. I repressed it. I lied to myself. I made excuses for myself because the shame based conditioning hurt so bad. When I tell you guys that I was so mean to myself, when I think about it, I cry, but I have a really hard time. Like, it's just not something that I can just pull out of me. But when I'm sitting and I'm thinking about it, I get like very teary eyed because amount of it's like I'm energetically spanking myself, and not in a fun, cute way, in a really deranged way. Like, the way that the conditioning has really affected me on a shameful level has literally stifled and stagnated my growth for so long. I have begun switching over to a gentle parenting, to a authoritative approach for myself. And what this entails is essentially understanding that my higher self and my higher mind has high expectations for me because I am hungry for more. But I have to switch the way that that filters from one that is low warmth, that is high in criticism, to one that is high in warmth, high encouragement, high in praise. To one that, instead of saying, you are bad for this, you are being a bad little creature, one that says, you can do this, you deserve this, you are capable of this, I am proud of you. You are bad, you're doing it wrong, I am proud of you, you are capable of this. To switch the voice that it filters through over. And the way that I have done this over the past few months is, well, first of all, it took me a long time to begin to listen to my subconscious and to my higher mind's guidance. So, first, you have to learn how to listen to your higher mind's guidance, criticism, and understand what it is. Then I had to, once got really good at hearing it, I had to be able to reprogram it from, like, so consciously when it comes up. Consciously, guidance comes up and it shows up as criticism, and I take that criticism and I go, actually, no, it's actually this way. So, for example, if my higher mind were to tell me, hey, you need to clean your apartment because when your apartment is dirty, you feel dirty and you are not dirty. You are worth so much more. You are worth cleanliness. You are worth organized environment. Okay. But that filters through the conditioning of shame and punishment and criticism. So my inner critic hears that and goes, why are you being dirty? You're so dirty. You're disgusting. Why are you doing this? So because of that, it punishes me, right? It like energetically like lashes me, okay, to punish me. And because of that, my vessel and my inner child is like, okay, so we're going to learn how to repress this behavior. We're going to learn how to hide this behavior. We're going to learn how to lie to ourselves. And the way that I and I have found many others lie to ourselves is by saying like, oh, well, that's not true. That's just your inner critic talking. It's not actually true. It's not actually true that you need to have a clean environment. That's just your inner critic being mean to you. But in all reality, it is actually true. So what I then have to do is I have to take that, you're dirty. Why are you doing this? You're so dirty. You're so bad. And I have to switch it over and consciously reprogram myself and go, no, you think this. And this is part of my tactic is to tell myself too, because there can be shame about the fact that you have shame. Like I have found for myself that if I'm just like, no, that's not true, then my inner critic will even be like, yeah, why are you so shame based? Why are you so mean to yourself, you dumb little creature? Okay. And so I then also have to tell myself flat out, like, hey, you are conditioned to feel this way about yourself, to feel like you have to punish yourself, and it's not true. And then I go, the truth of the matter is that you deserve so much more than what you're currently giving yourself. You deserve a better environment than what you're currently giving yourself. But that's okay. It's not your fault. You were conditioned this way. You were conditioned to feel this is all you could have. You were conditioned to feel you are dirty, so you belong in a dirty environment. Basically, in order to switch it over, I become aware of the criticism. I understand what was actually trying to be conveyed that is helpful. And I go, it's okay that you feel this way because you're conditioned to feel this way. But a more accurate representation is that you actually deserve more and you're conditioned to feel like you deserve less. That's essentially the basic format, and it can play out in a bunch of different ways. For example, with creation in general, with any sort of projects or hobbies or goals, I have traditionally given up because my inner critic goes, this is so messy, this is so sloppy, X, Y, and Z. But that's actually my higher mind telling me you're capable of so much more. My higher mind, my higher self is telling me you are capable of more and you want more. You want to be able to do this goal to the best of your ability. Your creative force has more potential, and it's going to be so fun and juicy and delicious for you to actually try to give that thing your all, to be in the moment of that with that thing, like to be in the moment with your creative force. But and so that's what my higher self is saying. But my inner critic is saying like, you're sloppy, why are you so bad at this, you should just stop. So just acknowledging in general that my higher self actually does want more for me is enough to like break the spell a little bit. But then the reprogramming added to it for me has switched it over to the point where the information, when it comes in different. It comes in a gentle parenting kind of way. It comes in an authoritative way that is high in warmth and high in expectation, rather than coming in a way that is low in warmth and low in expectation or high in expectation, depending on the day. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks. Bye.